So last time we saw Death giving two alternatives to Savitri. He was not yielding at all, but he offered two possibilities, that either she must reveal to him the force which is there in her, or else she must show to him that it is the mighty mother who is standing behind her. He had given a challenge to Savitri that if the mighty mother is standing behind her, she must look into his eyes. Let deathless eyes look into the eyes of death. That was the challenge he had given to Savitri. Now, of these two alternatives, which one is Savitri going to exercise? Reveal her force or show the mighty mother who is standing behind her? In a way, we can say that she is not taking these two as alternatives. She is combining both. First, of course, it is the power in her which must come out and meet death. Death had told Savitri that all that I respect is strength. I don't care about your knowledge, about your truth. They are of no meaning to me, of no value to me. How you got strength to conquer me? That is the challenge he had given to her. And Savitri has to reveal her full self with the strength, with that power, with that might, so that death gets convinced. So instead of saying this or that, what Savitri does? She just keeps quiet. She answers him not. We'll read that passage. And Savitri looked on death and answered not. Almost it seemed as if in his symbol shape the world's darkness had consented to heaven's light. Already she saw that he has surrendered. The world's darkness has disappeared from him, and he was now in a position to accept the reign of heaven's light. He was already in that position now. The world's darkness had consented to heaven's light. But here, the yogic truth, the occult truth is that he has not yet fully consented. Almost, it seemed. He has not fully given up his form. He will fight it out till the last moment. It is the moment of truth for him, the question of his existence or disappearance, and therefore he is going to fight it out till the last minute, till the last battle, to the last scene of the whole operation. The world's darkness had consented to heaven light, and God needed no more the inconscient screen. Who is this God? The Supreme Himself, who had taken the screen, the veil, to hide Himself and present Himself as death. That God who is behind death saw that it is no more necessary for Him now to wear that veil. That veil is no more necessary for Him. He is now in a position to discard it. And God needed no more the inconscient screen. So actually it is not death, it is God Himself who has concealed Himself behind all these operations. He is standing behind the void and projected Himself as death denier. No, There cannot be God existence here. There cannot be bliss. There cannot be happiness. There cannot be love, beauty, joy, power. They cannot be present in this creation. That is what he was all the while insisting upon. He is the great denier, D capital, full power of negation to assert in the most definitive sense the power of God himself in this creation. When the full power of denial is present, then when conquered, that becomes the full power of assertion, of affirmation, of a new manifestation. So that moment has arrived. The world's darkness had consented to heaven light, and God needed no more the inconscient screen. A mighty transformation came on her. Savitri is looking into the figure of death. Even as she is looking into him, she herself got totally changed. It is no more the mighty spirit of Savitri. It is the divine Shakti herself now who has taken possession of this instrument, who is standing there as Savitri. So that Savitri, transformed with the divine might fully present in her, is meeting death. A mighty transformation came on her. It is not the physical transformation, but it is the power of the mighty mother now who is present in human Savitri, in the incarnate Savitri, and she has revealed herself now fully through her. A mighty transformation came on her, a halo of the indwelling deity. That power who was residing in the soul of Savitri, that deity, that image, that Durga, whosoever you want to call her, it is that who is now fully coming in front into her operation. When Savitri had discovered her soul, the most important thing that had happened to her was the rush of the Kundalini force from above, the descent of the power from above. Center after center were filled up with that power, and Savitri's soul now was in full possession of that power. Now it is that power who is sitting in her soul, it is that which is revealed again to death. Actually, that is a very beautiful description of how the power comes down from various levels. We can quickly see some of these features there. See, there are 7 centers of activity, chakras or lotuses, here, down below like that, 7. And they have got different names also. And they have got different swaras, and each has its own quality. We can quickly see that from above down below, the 7 swaras, the 7 chakras or 7 sounds which are present are Om. Well, first is Soham above the head. Soham, I am all. Soham. Then Om. Hum is your throat. Yam at this place. Ram, navel. Vam, genital. Lam, at the base of the foundation of Kundalini. So we have got Soham, Om, Hum, Yam, Ram, Vam, Lam. These are the 7 tantric centers which got awakened, which got filled up with the power of the Divine Mother when Savitri had discovered her soul. Soham Om Ham Yam Ram Vam Lam. The sound goes on like that. All the centers get filled up with that power. Each center is now in possession of the Divine Mother. Soham Om Ham Yam Ram Vam Lam. In the Indian notations of music, we have 7 swaras, each swara representing these centers. Sa, starting from below, above, up. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. Ni is here above. So, when a yogi withdraws from life, it is through ni he goes up. His soul is released from ni up. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, and then he goes to that. In other words, from the center above the crown of the head opens out, and through that he passes into the other world. Now here in the case of Savitri, what is happening is, it is not rising of these powers, but it is the descent of the higher power into each of these centers down below, starting from ni down below. It goes in the case of Savitri. It starts from ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa. It starts from above down below, you see. Now, these powers had already established themselves in the soul of Savitri. Now, when the moment of truth had arrived, when death had practically considered defeat, it is that mighty power which is waking up in itself. The incarnation, Savitri, the incarnate force, she thrusts aside her veil, and all these power centers get activated. They open up, and there is the kind of a rush of that Kundalini force from above, Maha Kundalini, the supreme power, energy coming from above, is descending into various centers, into the subtle physical body of Savitri. And she is now ready to face death. He has given a challenge, and she is showing him her mighty self. Show me your strength. Well, this is my strength. It is that kind of a challenge which is given to her, and she is now showing that thing. A halo of the indwelling deity, it is that which has now opened up. The immortal's luster that had lit her face and tainted its radiance in her body's house, overflowing, made the air a luminous sea. Whole body, everything has become a kind of a luminous sea now with the presence of that power. The power itself, that strength itself, has luminosity of light, diamond light, strength as well as power, light, brightness. A flaming moment of apocalypse, that incarnation thrusts aside the veil. Savitri, the incarnate force, who had taken the mortal birth, she has kept aside the entire human self away from her now, and it is that mighty power which is now showing itself in her. A little figure in infinity, in the vastness of this creation, of that reality, of that absoluteness, where death is standing in front of that. She is a small little figure, but a figure with all the power centered in her. A little figure in infinity, yet stood and seemed the Eternal's very house. She looked like a small little figure, a small person, but in fact she had housed now that mighty power in her, and that being, that body, that person of Savitri has itself become the house of eternity, that the Brahman, the Almighty Creator Himself, could come and reside there, a house for the eternal, as if the world's center was her very soul. The entire creation was as if housed in her soul. And Savitri is no more that Savitri now. It is that eternal, that Brahman, that Creator who has now taken possession of the soul, and it is there that things are happening. And all wide space was but His outer robe. What is this space, this creation, this time, moments? They were only outward aspects of this creation. Savitri is now, in fact, the eternal and the infinite housed in that body. A cloud of the calm hauteur of far heaven descending into earth's humility in the smallness of earth, it is that which has descended now here. Her forehead span vaulted the omniscient's gaze. The whole forehead is looking at the omniscience itself. Everything is known to her. What is there now, what was there earlier, what will happen tomorrow, everything is at once known to her. She has the sight, the vision of all the three divisions of time. She has that full Trikala Drishti, with the divisions of time kind of disappearing. She knows everything, all the moments she knows now. So it is that forehead now which is saying what is going to happen, what had happened, what will happen, what is happening. She has now full knowledge of everything immediately. Her forehead span vaulted the omniscient's gaze. Her eyes were two stars. He is describing how the Kundalini, the power is descending. Her eyes were two stars that washed the universe. She is looking at the entire creation, at the entire universe. Not only this world, but all the seven worlds above, all the seven worlds below. Sapta Patala, Sapta Swarga. She is now seeing everything with those two eyes. What is where, all that she knows now at once. Her eyes were two stars that washed the universe. The power that from her being summit reigned, the power which came from above, from her being summit reigned, the presence chambered in her lotus secrecy. The presence is here in the secret of heart. The power is there above. Both of them have become her eyes. The presence which is there within, the power which is there above, it is those which have entered into her eyes, and with them she is seeing everything. Presence and power now have become her sight. And she knows what the presence is what. Presence stands for existence. Power stands for consciousness. Sat Chitananda, of the two, Sat, that is presence, Chit, that is consciousness. These two have now become her eyes, and with those two eyes she knows all the actions, all the movements, all the workings, the entire process of this creation. She has that knowledge now, and it is with that presence and power she is meeting death. Here I am in all my full strength. You wanted to see my strength? Here I am. The power that from her being summit reigned, the presence chambered in lotus secrecy, came down and held the center in her brow. It is here that Ajna Chakra at the forehead, it has wakened up. The will and force are there, they have wakened up, and she is now looking at things from that will and force. Knowledge and will, they meet here. Came down and held the center in her brow, where the mind's Lord in his control room sits. It is from here the mind controls all our movements and actions. Control room is a very modern image the poet is using. You are in a power station. In the power station you have got a control room, and you control all the operations. It is in that manner that mind is sitting and controlling all our actions. But it is no more that mind now. Behind that mind is some other power who has occupied that control room and governing every activity, every movement, every part of the machinery of that powerhouse. Where the mind's Lord in his control room sits, there throned on concentration's native seat, he opened the third mysterious eye in man. The third mysterious eye, Divya Chakshu, it is that which has opened up now suddenly, and she sees everything now with that. So he is describing what is happening here, what is happening here in the case of Savitri, where the mind's Lord in his control room sits, there thrown on concentration's native seat, he opened the third mysterious eye in man. The unseen's eye. What is that third eye? The unseen's eye that looks at the unseen. What cannot be seen, what was not seen so far, what had remained unseen, it is that which it started suddenly seeing the moment that third eye has opened. So, what is the purpose of this death? What is the purpose of this creation, this suffering and all that thing? It knows, yes, it is a meaning, and it has to do its work in a certain sense. You see. The unseen's eye that looks at the unseen. When light with a golden ecstasy fills the brain, brain itself is filled up with light now, with golden ecstasy, and eternal wisdom drives his choice, and eternal will seizes the mortal's will. So it is no more Savitri's will now, it is the eternal will itself which has taken possession of Savitri's will. It stirred the lotus, so all the three centers are described. Now it is coming to the heart. It stirred the lotus of her heart, of her throat, a song. First throat, then will come heart. It stirred the lotus of her throat of song, and in her speech throbbed the immortal word, the word of creation, which cannot be destroyed, which keeps on moving in all the directions. It is that word. Word means Brahma himself is word, and it is that now which is active. Her life sounded with the steps of the world soul, moving in harmony with the cosmic thought. It glided, as glides God's Son into the mystic cave, as glides God's Son into the mystic cave. So now imagine the cave is there, impenetrable, but somehow the Son manages to enter into the cave. And then what happens? Mystic cave, that is the Vedic image. In the Veda, they speak of Hridaya Guha, deep in our heart, Hridaya Guha, that is the cave, gulf. It is in that gulf, in that Hridaya Guha, has entered the light of the Supreme Sun. So Savitri's centers have become active, now it has entered into the center of the heart, Hridaya Guha. As glides God's Son into the mystic cave, where hides his light from the pursuing gods, it glided into the lotus of her heart and woke in the force that alters fate. So that Sun has entered into the heart of Savitri. A sun which is not accessible even to the gods. The gods also do not have access to that sun. It is that sun now which has entered into the heart of Savitri. And there, what happens? There wakes that power, that light, the strength which can alter fate. Savitri was told by the Supreme when she started the yoga, remember why thou camest. And then she was told, harbor my foes and conquer death. So she has harbored her force now in her heart to conquer death, and woke in it the force that alters fate. So that is the force which has come into her now. It poured into a navel's lotus depth below the heart. It has gone now into the navel. Lost in the little life nature's narrow home, on the body's longings grew heaven rapture's flower, and made desire a pure celestial flame. Broke into the cave where coiled world energy sleeps, where the Kundalini is asleep, world energy is asleep. It has entered into that, and that sleeping Kundalini now has been suddenly awoken there. So as the force is descending from above down below into the various centers of Savitri, all of them are getting not only activated, they are getting filled with that Kundalini Shakti herself, you see. Broke into the cave where coiled world energy sleeps, and smote the 1,000 hooded serpent foes. So all the 1,000 energies which are lying asleep down below into the inconscience, they have suddenly got stirred. They have come into activity. They are now there to do the work. That blazing towered and clasped the world self above. So the Kundalini has arisen suddenly because of the pressure from above. And what happened? It rose up and suddenly it shot up into the very self itself from where it had come, and filled earth's acts and the spirit's silent power. Everything is now filled up. Spirit was lying idle, silent, inactive, quiescent. Now it has become active because of the rush of this force. Thus changed, she waited for the word to speak. So Savitri's total transformation has taken place. She is now ready. But she will not do anything unless she gets a command. She waits for the word. The Divine, the Supreme, has to tell her, the Mighty Mother who is there behind her, she has to tell Savitri, yes, now, this you have to do, whatever has to be done. So she is now in a position to do the work she had come to do, but now she is waiting for the command, for the adesh, for the instructions, for the details in which things have got to be done, and it is in that process then she will conquer death. I think we'll stop with that.